Hi, everyone. So, this is the final week that we're talking about authenticity, and we're rounding out the week with no approval needed. Now, we've gone a lot of places this month. We've talked about boundaries, we've talked about authenticity and the courage that it takes to be authentic. We've talked about vulnerability. We've talked about all of these different things, how we cultivate this in our life, lots of different things. And yet, as I was thinking about it, and as I was thinking about how hard it has been for me to be authentic in every situation, in every moment, that I was thinking about how conditioned we are in our society, in our world, to look for other people's approval, to try to fit in. We are taught from the moment we are born that there are socially acceptable ways to behave and there are socially unacceptable ways to behave, and that we should always be on the acceptable side of the line. Now, of course, part of living in a society is that we have rules and boundaries, and that we all kind of agree to live together in harmony in some sort of way. However, there's so many things that we expect of other people simply because we were raised that way, or because we assume that our values are the same as everybody else's values, or that the way that we were raised is the same way that everybody else was raised. When in reality, things like values and the way we were raised and the culture that we were raised into and the religion and all of these things can vary wildly from person to person. And so if we're constantly looking for outside approval of ourselves, we're never going to find it. There's always going to be somebody who disagrees with us. And if we're only trying to agree, if our number one goal in life is to get everybody to like us or to agree with us, then what happens is that we run around always trying to be what the other person expects us to be. And so this and I think that in general, that's the way we're taught to be. We are taught to make sure to not mess with the status quo, don't shake anything up, don't make anybody uncomfortable, things like that. And yet, I just think about what would it be like if we deconstructed this idea that we have to fit in and that it is our job to make everyone around us comfortable, and instead, not showing up from a place of trying to make people uncomfortable on purpose, but what if instead we focused on our own approval? What if every single person on the planet did enough internal work that we knew what our values were, that we knew what is important to us, that we knew what our boundaries are, what our needs are, our wants are, everything like that. If all of us got to know ourselves a little bit better and approved of who we are, then all of a sudden, approval of other people, first of all, becomes a non issue. But second of all, it becomes a lot easier. I find that I primarily judge those around me when I'm really judging myself. And that it doesn't take much looking in the mirror to realize that something inside of me is uncomfortable with who I am or how I'm showing up. And that's why I've decided to repress all of that and judge people for what they're wearing or what they're doing or how they're choosing to show up in the moment. Things that really don't even affect me at all. And so instead, when I notice myself judging or thinking that somebody else needs my approval to live their life the way that I think they should, instead I stop and I go, where am I not approving of myself? Am I living out of integrity from my own values? Am I living into a value that I was taught was wrong? And so I'm a little uncomfortable right now. Am I doing something new? Am I in a new situation? What's going on in my life that makes me think I have to look outside of myself and judge the people around me, that all of a sudden my approval is important for their life. And once I get clear on that and I begin to accept myself and do my own work on my own worthiness and my own values and things like that, all of a sudden I don't care what the people around me are doing because I can just live and let live. So I think that's what this no approval needed means. It's kind of all of these different directions that we don't look outside of ourselves for approval, that we work to approve of ourselves, and that we don't think that other people need our approval. It's threefold. So I hope you join me on Sunday as we discuss this more and wrap up this really rich topic of authenticity. I love you all.